This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Warning, the following broadcast contains adult language, adult content, frank safety discussions, and stories that might sound unbelievable. But believe me, every one of those stories is true. We didn't start the safety war, but we are going to fight to win it. For our families, for our communities, for our workplaces, and for our lives. This is going to be a lot shorter today than some of the recent conversations we've had. Picking your battles to win the safety war. Today on Safety Wars. Recently we had a situation and this whole thing came to mind. Pick your battles. You got to pick your battles to win a war, even with the safety war. What happens is you have a job and it's to motivate people, provide leadership, assess safety hazards, prevent accidents, and all that stuff. That goes into everything. Any other thing from that, other than that, is a distraction. And it's going to make your workplace less safe. What did I have to deal with? It's a familiar situation. Two people had a conflict. It had nothing or very little to do with safety. What happened was that rather than work out differences, one party decided to up the ante. That's a little bit of poker lingo there. He didn't realize that the guy he was messing with had followed Sun Tzu's advice from The Art of War. A good general does not fight a battle until after the battle is won. The Bible puts it a little bit different. Don't criticize the speck in your neighbor's eye without removing the plank from your own eye. A little bit of a different viewpoint there, different point of view. What happened? One person decided to initiate an email string. He did not realize that the guy he was messing with had the ability to make his life miserable as well as everyone else's. This guy had been documenting a lot of things all along, and it looks to me that probably this email had just been written and sitting in someone's draft folder waiting to be sent out. We ended up resolving this situation, but it took an immense effort from everyone. But my point is that it was a distraction from everything else, from production, from safety, and everything else we normally do. You must be smart. Negotiate. Don't get into conflicts. Resolve conflicts. Work towards a common goal, whatever that job is, whatever product you're dealing with. If you do need to get involved in a conflict, make sure you're going to win that conflict before you even try to fight it. Otherwise, I try to avoid them, if at all possible. It will usually turn out worse for the safety person and make that safety war that much harder to win. Because if you're someone who is in a non-production or considered a non-production situation, you're less valuable to most organizations than that production person that you are getting into a conflict with. So pick your battles. And if you're going to start a conflict, make darn sure you are set up to win it. For Safety Wars, this is Jim Posel.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.